LA down by 3. 10 seconds left. Leonard for George. Back for Leonard. Ball fake. Running out of time. Morris. One dribble. Blocked. And that'll do it. That's game. And it ends on a French rejection. Utah holds on and takes game 1.
NBA fans, what's good? You are now rocking with the best. Ro Parrish here in Studio B. It is Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T 5G. You've just witnessed the Utah Jazz go up 1-0 against the LA Clippers. And I have two of the most outstanding basketball minds here to break it all down. The All-Star, the champion, Steve Smith, the coach of your next basketball team in the NBA, that is Earl Watson, your favorite basketball team. He's going to be the head coach. Just trust me on that with his basketball intellect. But we just saw that last possession. We saw the defensive scramble drill going on with the Utah Jazz as they get the victory. Smitty, your thoughts on that last possession as the Clippers tried to tie the game up?
I look at a team right there is because you're in scramble mode. This tells me they're connected. I mean, they are connected. Look at that. That was a pick that obviously a show. He got back, and then there's discipline for them. Yes, he got him up in the air. But for me, Earl, that's a 5 guys connected, understood the situation, was not going to give up an easy 3. You might have hit it, but it was going to be a tough 3. I love how they were able to scramble, switch, stay down without fouling.
And then it with Rudy. You're your best defender on the team, defending that corner 3. He took the shot fake, came back with the second one, kept his hands high. And that's a lot of trust with your players as a coach, because most teams would just foul in that situation and play the free throw game versus the clock. And they got the victory. And it's one thing about playing in Jazz Nation. I knew with that lead in the first half, they wasn't safe, because that energy in that building that Coach Sloan built just gives you a different edge.
Yeah, we saw earlier in that game they missed 20 consecutive shots. 15 of those shots were three-pointers. Then in the second half, that defensive intensity. Gobert didn't have a block until midway through the third quarter. Then he finishes the game with 3 as Utah comes up big defensively. But then offensively, Donovan Mitchell. We hear the chatter all season. We see him and Shaq go back and forth and kind of challenged him. And he's definitely answered the bell. 45 points tonight, his 4th career playoff game going over 40 points, tying Karl Malone for the Utah Jazz all-time playoff record. Earl, just seeing what he did offensively and being able to carry this team with Mike Conley out tonight, what were your thoughts?
Watching him on television does him no justice. You have to go to the game to see him to appreciate his speed and explosiveness. He's not a tall guard. He's 6'1", but he has strong base, big shoulders. He has strength behind his explosive nature and power. He can shoot the ball beyond the 3. And Smitty, I don't know if I've seen anyone as explosive in a small box. The way he dribbled left, right, and finds an angle to get to the basket. His finishing is above the rim, under the rim, and kind of unorthodox when he goes right hand, right leg, right hand layups. He's very crafty around the rim, and it's difficult to time blocking his shot.
He has a power forward mentality to me. I think one thing I love about it is he's always square, dribbling the basketball. Usually a guard, he plays with it, but he's in and out. But he's always square, and then he's okay with going through your shoulders. And like you said, he's never bumped off balance. I mean, most of his things is now he's square. I'm right here with you. When I go, I'm still square, and then I'm through you and at you. And that's the one thing I like. A lot of guys go through you, then they want to go around you. He's always square. He's always on balance. I look at him as one of those players. It is extremely hard to take away. These dribbles is, you got to take a charge, or you're going to block it, or I'm going right through you. But I think none other than that is for all these young guys out here to be able to take that many shots, to take that many, have that much usage rate. This kid is in shape. He has lived in the gym, and he loves the game. And what I love, just the little things, he's picking Dwayne Wade's brain throughout the game. Earl, that's huge for me. And obviously we know how close it is and how much they talk to each other, but somebody that good is still picking people's brain. Usually you start to feel yourself, I've arrived. He doesn't feel like he's arrived.
Yeah, I don't know Donovan that well, but every time I've been around him, he's very humble and seems to be very open and to learning. And D-Wade, of course, part of the ownership group now with Utah. We saw him on the sideline. Earl, when you have somebody like that who's a legend, a future Hall of Famer, first ballot, who's been to these games and been in these situations, how valuable is that to see and being able to go and ask and pick his brain?
It's extra confidence. You seek that knowledge, you seek that resource. And as we was watching him play, Smitty and Ro, he reminds me of Eric Gordon. his size, his build, his shiftiness was before the injuries. If Eric Gordon would have got drafted to a better organization, this is who he would have been. So when you have that situation and you have a D-Wade, you have an owner who actually knows the game, which is rare in this league, it kind of gives you confidence. D-Wade can give him insight that not even Quinn can give him, because D-Wade's been on that court and lived in those moments with the ball in his hand, going down the stretch, closing games in the playoffs.
So when we go to the other side, the Los Angeles Clippers coming off that Game 7, I know that was taxing if you think about it. That was a longer series than maybe some might have expected. Paul George struggling to get his shot together. Had 13 in the fourth quarter, but really couldn't find his shot earlier. What were some of the things that stuck out to you about the Clippers that you saw that they can improve upon?
Well, I think for them is they're going to have an adjustment. Obviously, you wanted to come in and win this game, and obviously it sent a message. But you lost this one. But I love what T. Lue has done. He pushed another button tonight, DeMarcus Cousins. Came in, didn't play well his few minutes. And I think also Luke Kennard has been able to play well. He's trying to find the rhythm of this, and T. Lue's one of the masters of being able to manage, adjust. He's one of those guys, I'm just not going to run to the race. I'm going to just keep plotting. And then I think for him is he's going to figure it out, and I think this game is going to be beautiful for him. This is what I love about the game. I just want to be a fly on the wall with the coaches when they're talking about the adjustments, because that's the game within the game. When you're a player, yes, you know what kind of adjustments you're going to make. But as a coach, I got to tell Earl what kind of adjustments I think. He's got to tell me, and we got to be on the same page. And that's the beauty about basketball when you have a coach-player relationship.
That's the mental aspect. Earl, I want to ask you about the physical aspect. Coming off that Game 7, we saw it seemed like they had a lot of energy early. Do you think that energy faded away? What do you think happened with the Clippers towards the end of the game?
You're still playing at altitude. Like when I played in Utah, we knew if we ran hard and ran early and hit it first, we would catch teams in the second half, especially going in the fourth and last 6 minutes of the game. Denver's the same way when I played in Denver. So maybe that altitude caught them. But the second time they come into that arena for Game 2, they will have their wind underneath them. They'll be ready. They'll be mentally focused. And I grew up with T. Lue. We grew up in the same gyms in high school. He's crafty. He's moving it around. He's talking to Chauncey. He's looking at different ways. And Smitty, I really think he threw more players out there because he knew the altitude would catch them going down the stretch in the fourth quarter.
Mike Conley didn't play in this one. He had that hamstring injury that kept him out for 21 games earlier in this season. Re-injured that in the last game of the last series. Smitty, how do you think Utah handled himself not being able to have Conley in the lineup tonight?
Well, it's a lot on Donovan Mitchell. I mean, you just look at it. He played 36 minutes, but it's not just the minutes. It's everything he has to do. It's going to have to be somebody else. And I thought Jordan Clarkson came in, gave him a lift, didn't shoot well. You don't really look at percentages right now in the playoffs. It's just to get it done, get a win. I think there's going to have to be more of Joe Ingles, more of Bogdanovich. And I'm not talking about scoring, just taking a load off of Donovan Mitchell, because at this pace, I'm not saying he can't do it, but if I'm T. Lue and the Clippers, it's taking 45 to beat us in Utah, and it was just by 3 points. We had a chance to tie it at the end. We had a possession that we could have made a difference. So the Clippers are saying we didn't play our best game, Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, and we had a chance. I think they're going to feel okay.
You just mentioned Ty Lue. We know that Earl grew up with them playing in the same gyms.